Alright, I'm going to talk about. I watched Superman, the 1978 one, starring Christopher Reeve, Marlon Brando, Gene Hackman, and directed by Richard Donner. The whole film acts as a metaphor for the Jesus Christ story, or Zeus and Hercules, if you will. And this film kind of came out in the 70s, post Vietnam. There was economic troubles across America, and a hero's journey like this was just what the public were waiting for, and they gobbled it up. Of course, Jor-El is God or Zeus. Superman is Jesus Christ or Hercules. I mean, he sends his son to Earth to be a savior. Ma and Pa Kent are basically Mary and Joseph, who are gifted a child without conception, and the story proceeds from there. He crash lands into Kansas. Kansas looks spectacular. It's like a Norman Rockwell painting. Half the screen is blue and yellow wheat fields. It looks terrific, and it's really tranquil to watch it at home. Prior to that, the scenes in Krypton, Marlon Brando, there's something hypnotic. I don't know if it's actually his voice or that we're film fans and we just surrender to it. And he's got the pop culture morality play and the intellectual pomposity about knowing everything and intellectual curiosity that I think Brando would have liked. Superman grows up, and some of those effects are still they still hold up. Kicking a football, the flying is still okay. All the Superman stuff throughout the film kind of works. Christopher Reeve is actually still the best Superman. I had mentioned in the previous video that I like this new Superman, and I did, and I thought the spandex in the last one ridiculous. They actually do a lot more. What it is, the Superman costume in this film pops because it's the only red and light blue throughout the film. So when he's on screen, you can't take your eyes off him. There's something arresting about that. Whereas James Gunn was littered with colours, Superman didn't really lift off the screen the way Christopher Reeve does. And there's something stately and masculine, and I just think that's of the time. There's not the playfulness that you get in the new one. There's more wit in this. Um, as Clark Kent, Christopher Reeve was covered in makeup. There's something when you're watching the film, you'll be like, there's something off about him. I mean, it's just glasses. It's just glasses. Everybody knows, but he's leathered in white makeup, and it doesn't become apparent until later on. And it does an effective job of kind of jarring you when you watch him, enough for you to kind of go along with the narrative. Um, he has the best flying face, and Gene Hackman shows up. He's more of a comic Lex Luthor. He's more comical than all the other ones. He doesn't take it seriously as, say, Kevin Spacey or Nicholas Hoult. But that's fine. It goes along with the kind of tone of the film, which holds together well as a kind of comic melodrama. Um, and you're so won over by the opening sequences at the start. The science fiction stuff at the start is fine. And then we get into the meat of the story. And it is really rather enjoyable. It still holds up. Probably is one of the best superhero films because in its totality, it's a 70s film. Clark Kent is this bumbling idiot with the, splashes of Superman in the background, ever so vague, catching a bullet and falling over. And Christopher Reeve does a really good job of being aloof, like this nebbish Woody Allen-esque, who's a American actor and filmmaker. He's really convincing. Like, you could make a whole film about that Clark Kent character, and Christopher Reeves would pull it off, aside from the fact that he's 6'4". And of course, there's a spectacular love story and a wonderful sequence where the two of them fly, and it's just them on wires holding hands, and it goes on for much longer than it would today. But there's something kind of like a Disney movie. That's just the kind of effect it gives you. And if you're going to put the film on, you're going to let it win you over. So there's no point in avoiding it. There is a big morality play running throughout the film, which they kind of reverse on. Jor-El's lessons to his unknowing son on right and wrong, and the frustrations Superman, Christopher Reeve, Kal-El has to endure throughout the film. But it doesn't matter. And it does end with that just absolutely spectacular visual of him reversing time. Everybody would have seen it as a child, and you recognise it as soon as you see it. But it just looks great. And it's so simple. They just reverse the footage throughout the film, and it really works. Yeah, look, it's worth revisiting. Lazy Sunday, chill out, enjoy.